to reflect objects about the x or y axis and other movements. First, we're going to reflect about the y-axis and down 4. So when we flip this point about the y-axis, we're at negative 6, 3. So if we flip it about the y-axis, it becomes 6, 3. If we flip this point, it becomes 1, 3. This point becomes negative 2, 6 becomes 2, 6. And this last point, which is negative 5, 6, becomes 5, 6. So if we move it down 4, each point, start with this point, go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next point, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This point, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this last point, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And connect the dots to draw the figure. So your final answers would be this point, which is 2, 2. This point, which is 5, 2. This one, 1, negative 1. And this one is 5, negative 1. Going to flip this across the x-axis and down 6. So we start with this point. It's at negative 6, negative 5. So when we flip it across the x-axis, it becomes 6, 5. Negative 6, 5, sorry. We flip this point, which is at negative 2, negative 5, it becomes negative 2, 5. We switch this point, which is at negative 6, negative 6, it becomes 6, negative 6, 6. And now we flip this point, which is at negative 2, negative 6, it becomes negative 2, 6. We connect the points. Okay, it's supposed to be an even rectangle. Now we move it down 6. So we take each point, we'll start with this one. We're at negative 6, 6, and we go down 6, so we're now at negative 6, 0. This point is at negative 6, 5. It becomes negative 6, negative 1. This is negative 2, 6. So it should be at negative 2, 0. And this point is at negative 2, 5, so it becomes negative 2, negative 1. Connect the points. Okay, so your points are negative 6, 0, negative 2, 0, negative 6, negative 1, and negative 2, negative 1. We're reflecting this triangle across the x-axis and up 2. So if we take this first point right here and reflect it across the x-axis, and it's at 5, negative 5, it becomes 5, 5. This point is at 1, negative 5, becomes 1, 5. And this point, which is at 5, negative 2, becomes 5, 2. Now we connect the points. Now it says move up 2. So we take this point and move up 2. So it goes from 5 to 7. This point goes from 2 to 4. And this point goes from 5 to 7. So So again, we connect the points. So the coordinate of this one is 1, 7. Coordinate of this point is 5, 7. And the coordinate for this point is 5, 4. So we have a reflect across the y-axis and down 2. So if we start with this point right here and reflect across the y-axis, we're at 3, 6, so we'll go to negative 3, 6. This point becomes negative 5, 6. This point becomes negative 7, 4. This point becomes negative 1, 4. This point becomes negative 5, 2. And this point becomes negative 3, 2. Again, you connect the points. Now it says to move down 2. If we start with this point and go down 2, it goes right here. This point goes down 2, goes right here. This point down 2. This point down 2. This point and this point. So again, you connect the dots. So your final answer should have been this point, which was negative 5, 4. This point is negative 3, 4. This point's negative 1, 2. Negative 3, 0. Negative 5, 0. And negative 7, 2. Alright, if we reflect across the y-axis, this point becomes, it's at 3, negative 6, so it becomes negative 3, negative 6. This one is at 5, negative 4, so it becomes negative 5, negative 4. And this one is at 5, negative 6, so it becomes negative 5, negative 6. Okay. Now we want to move up 5. Start with this point. It's at negative 5, negative 4. If we go up 5 points, it becomes negative 5, 1. This point goes up 5 points. It becomes negative 5, negative 1. And this point, if it goes up 5, it becomes negative 3, negative 1. So we have negative 5, 1, negative 5, negative 1, and negative 3, negative 1.